Dr. Dana, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Gina and Mike?
Good morning.
Excellent.
We're doing great, thanks.
I'm just glad to say that my mother was not a tiger mother.
Oh, my. I know. That's a little scary. It's intimidating. I don't think I could handle it.
That will definitely be maybe a concern for our future health matters.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Really.
For today on health matters, I really, during the last few weeks in our internet, our print media, broadcast, telecast, there's been a lot of talk about the immunization question, and I just thought it would be a good time to discuss some of that. As you know, immunizations are simply a way for us to set off and trigger our immune systems to prevent serious life-threatening infections and diseases, and it does that by exposing us just to a small, safe amount of the most important types of infections, especially childhood infections, and thus preventing them for future occurrence, or even if we do come down with a much milder form. Since immunizations were started, we've seen diseases like tetanus and diphtheria, mumps, measles, whooping cough, or pertussis, and polio become extremely rare. And new vaccines have been decreased our incidences of certain meningitis, pneumonias, and even ear infections. This is extremely important. You got to remember, we have a generation of physicians, a lot of my young colleagues who have never seen a lot of these so-called childhood infections, which is good. Now, I just thought real quickly that there's something that you should be aware of. I think parents should be aware of and be able to discuss with their primary care physicians, and that's the types. There's 4 different types of actual vaccines. There's attenuated or weakened vaccines. There's killed or inactivated vaccines, as we see like in our flu shots. There's toxoid vaccines, which we see like in our which actually are toxins or chemicals, and we see those that are diphtheria and tetanus vaccines. And then there's biosynthetic vaccines, which produce other types of vaccines. So there's actually different types, and I think it's very important that our listeners are able to discuss this with their primary care physicians. Of course, Gina and Mike, you know what the concerns are of parents. I'll put you on the spot here concerning the use of vaccines, right?
Yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely. Is your mic on, Michael?
Yeah. I don't know. You have it there.
Can you
it is.
hear Michael?
Yeah, Dr. Dana, I wanted to ask you. You know that infamous study that was done was in Great Britain, was it not?
Yes.
And it was back in the late 80s, I believe, early 90s.
Late 90s. Actually.
Late 90s, beg your pardon. And it tied autism to childhood vaccinations. That's now been thoroughly debunked, yes? That's
true. That's exactly what I was alluding to as far as the recent internet and news media reports. And I think it's very important. It was actually tied to the MMR vaccine. That's what the study looked at. And that over the years, I've had the opportunity to look at the studies that came out of Europe as well as our own country, and those studies have been able to reproduce those results, which is good news for our parents. And safety is the primary thing that I was getting at. That's the biggest concern. Parents need to know that babies' immune systems, you know, they're built to make antibody production for as many as 10,000 different types of foreign proteins. And even if a baby receives all 11 different types of vaccines at one time, this would only stimulate a small part of their immune systems. And then the second safety factor which came into being was the thimerosal, which is a mercury component, which was used as a preservative, but it was also studies have shown that they have not been linked to either autism or ADHD. And it's also important that parents know that even if they still have concerns about the thimerosal, that all of the vaccines are available without this substance added. And again, this is something they can discuss with their healthcare provider.
The MMR is the mumps, measles, rubella, correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
The MMR vaccination, that's for mumps, measles, and rubella?
That's the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine, right?
Okay. And that study that so many people, and I think it was it Jenny McCarthy who really kind of championed that in the public eye. That study it's gone further than the media that I read this week went further than just simply saying they couldn't repeat those results. It went further to actually accuse that original doctor of fraudulent study?
I have read those reports as well, and not being in the legal realm, I'm not. It's probably an area that I'll let those experts go into. But I think the important thing for parents to know is that none of those studies have been able to be reproduced, and they have been looked at rather intensely and very, very looked at in great detail because of the safety factor involved. We need to remember that our healthcare providers are the ones who are providing the primary care, but the researchers at the CDC and the American Academy of Pediatrics looking over their shoulders is a very, very big protection for us as for our children as well as us as adults. Immunization schedules are updated yearly, every 12 months, by the American Academy of Pediatrics, as well as the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, which are two websites that listeners can go to and look at these reports. There's also, I want to make sure that we mention, because these are two items that are very important, Gina and Mike, and that is the fact that we as adults don't realize it, but we are also subject to immunizations. On my recent yearly internal medicine checkup, I received my tetanus, long overdue tetanus pertussis booster, as well as my flu vaccine, because there has been a rise in recent years of pertussis or adult whooping cough. And so it's very important that you check as adults, that you check with your adult physicians to make sure you are up to date on your immunizations. And the second point being that as travelers, we're traveling internationally, not just on business, but with our families. And it's very important to check at these websites to make sure that in certain countries you're going to, there may be certain typhoid immunizations, et cetera, that may be necessary.
Fantastic advice.
Yeah, we'll put those websites up on our site at www.mikeandg.com so that anyone interested in learning more can go to our website and find links to those sites that Dana just mentioned.
Perfect.
That would be great, because they are very important, I think, both to our children, but to us as adults as well.
Dr. Dana, as always, right on the money. Thank you so much for joining us each and every Saturday on the Round Table. Hope you have a great week.
You too. Thank you, and I will stay off the highways.
Okay,
Thanks,
bye
Dana.
now.
Bye-bye.